this International Women's Day, I welcome you all to join us in remembering Maharaj Kumari Binodini Devi, the writer from Manipur. Today, some of her colleagues, admirers, readers, and friends and relatives have come together to share some thoughts about her and her work. I'm terribly honored that Dr. Najma Heptullah, the Honorable Governor of Manipur, is with us today with a statement, and also our Queen, Maharani Anamika, Haubi Maharani as we call her, is with us with some of her thoughts about her grand aunt. But before we go on, let me ask Dr. K. Srinivasa Rao, Secretary of Sahitya Academy, our co-presenter, to share a few words.
My name is Dr. K. Srinivasa Rao, Secretary Sahitya Academy, New Delhi. Women are the most essential of all the components that make society. Without women, this world, the establishment, and continuation of customs and practices are not possible. Women are the carriers of culture. They provide tongue to children, make them aware of themselves and the world around them. They inculcate habits, practices, and education in children. They are the makers of just not home, but the world. This year's theme for the International Women's Day is Women in Leadership. In the modern and especially contemporary world, one can easily a number of examples for that. But 100 years ago, when the world was predominantly patriarchal in nature and character, there were only very few women were in that position. Maharaj Kumari Binodini Devi, whose birth centenary falls next year, was a very fine exception to the rule of the day, and she influenced Manipuri society like none before. If women in Manipur today are getting educated, can participate in the fine arts and performing arts, or be a part of political movement, it is all primarily due to the legacy and influence of Maharaj Kumari Binodini Devi. I am very glad that Imasi Foundation and Mr. Somi Rai are taking the legacy of Maharaj Kumari Binodini Devi far and wide, and my best wishes to the foundation and Mr. Somi Rai in all their endeavors. Thank you.
I'm very happy to pay my tribute to Maharaj Kumari Binodini Devi, popularly known as Imasi. She was a great writer, not only known in Manipur but also outside the state. And on this occasion of the International Women's Day, we celebrate her and pay our tributes to her for her good work. For I hope many people, young people, will follow her example.
I am Laimarembi Haubi Maharani Anamika Devi. It is a great honor to join the celebration of my grand aunt Maharaj Kumari Binodini Devi. Ngasi International Women's Day da aihakidi aigaibema Churasan Maharaj amasung Ngangbi Maharani Dhanamanjuri gi mazaibema Sana Wangolna Miyam da pibiramba Miyam gidamak ibiramba pumnamak ningsing minasi. I wish the centenary celebrations of M.K. Binodini Devi all success.
On Women's Day, I would like to pay a special tribute to Maharaj Kumari Binodini Devi to honor all those very special aspects of feminine energy which she exemplified. This inspirational and multifaceted writer was adept at novels and short stories and was also a translator, a playwright and a scriptwriter. She was also both muse and mentor to other artists. Binodini Devi was so much more than the sum of all these things. She has been a source of personal inspiration to me, and her centenary is approaching next year. I hope, I believe, I know it will illuminate both her life and her convictions.
Nolookchari Thangjam Hindustani Devi at New Delhi. To me, one of the most inspiring Indian women authors has to be Manipur's Maharaj Kumari Binodini Devi for her excellent and empathetic portrayal of strong Manipuri women in a traditional setup of Manipur society, which she portrayed in all her body of work ranging from novels, plays, and movie scripts. Let me read to you a few lines from her translation, The Maharaja's Household, which will hopefully give a glimpse into her early life at the Royal Palace of Manipur. I quote, "We never got very close to either the king or the queen. We slept with our respective wet nurses in separate rooms, in separate beds, so I used to call my wet nurse Mother. I grew up on her milk. For that reason, the wet nurses of the palace were women who held a very high status. It was a tradition that when princesses got married, their respective wet nurses were rode out in front in palanquins carpeted in royal red." Unquote. Quote again, "This was one gracious practice at the palace. I realize only now that this life is best lived a little simply, a little plainly." To me, these lines are proof of her simplicity. And so on this Women's Day, thank you so much, Imasi Maharaj Kumari Binodini Devi, for the rich body of work that you left behind as your legacy and for continuing to inspire and lead us.
Hello everyone. I'm Rishi Badua from Centenery and I teach in Kala Bhavan in the sculpture department. I used to know Binodini Devi. I used to call her Binodini Masi as she was my mother's classmate. My mother was Kiran Badua and they were very favorite students of Ramkinkar Bej. And she used to come to our house whenever she was in Calcutta. And I was really awestruck by her grace and beauty. And I can show you my mother's work. Yeah. And here is a watercolor and a photograph of Binodini Masi, as you can see. This is the watercolor by Ramkinkar Bej. Yeah, she was a great personality. I am really fortunate to have met her right from my childhood. Thank you.
My name is Uma Dakuna. I am a film programmer and a festival consultant based in Mumbai. I have known Binodini for many a decade. I think it goes back to the early 80s, 82 when I first met her, and that was, I think, at the Nanth Film Festival. I remember her as being a person who spoke very little, and at the table where we were all at a panel, she was a person sitting at one side, but always very confident, very aware, very much in charge of what she wanted to say, her perceptions. I was in awe of her from that time.
I'm Pooja Langpum and I'm recording from Imphal. M.K. Binodini, or lovingly known as Imasi, is a figure I was aware of even before I read any of her works. She's a pioneer in so many fields, in art and culture, in literature. She was a public intellectual as a woman before it was accepted by society, and she's paved the way for so many of us. It is a privilege and an honor to be able to read from her play Crimson Rain Clouds. Kainatombi is a betelnut seller and Gautam is the painter. Kainatombi. My father is a blacksmith. He gave me a magnet when I was little. I used to play with it. How astonished I was when little bits of iron would rush to stick to it. But Dada, a magnet only attracts valuable metal. Why does it attract worthless river drift like me? Gautam. Who said you were worthless? Kainatombi, let me ask you something. When river floods, drift of twigs and leaves has brought along a spray of orchids like you. And why are you selling betel nut here? Kainatombi. No one has asked me like this the way you do, but I ask myself this all the time. Dada, I liked you the moment I saw you. You're not like other people. What the difference is, that too, I do not know. Others have also asked me the question you just asked now. It is not that they don't, but when they ask, it just irritates me. It makes me want to die right there. They asked like they were haggling my price, Gautam. And when I ask, Kanatam, when you ask, it seems you ask because you want to know. So many things come back to me today, Dada. My homeland, so green, so very green with paddy fields. The blue hills seem to blend into the azure skies. How lovely is the land of my birth. I remember even today how the small tree saplings sprout in tight clusters and the land orchids flower to cover the hillsides. Dada, I once loved a man too. I followed him to come here, to this, your city of distractions. But he disappeared. I never found him again. It is river drift, as you say, but it cannot flow upstream. One could have floated downstream with the current, but I got caught on a dry tree root and lived. Why didn't I meet you earlier? Have you ever seen a river flood, Dada? With all that refuse of twigs and leaves come floating down.
Hello, I'm Manasi Subramaniam from Penguin Random House, India, and I'm recording this in Delhi in February 2021. A few years ago, when we were sharing a cab ride to a literary festival venue in Kochi, Namita Gokhale showed me an essay by Somi Roy about his grandparents, Maharaja Churachand Singh and Maharani Dhanamanjuri Devi of Manipur. In this essay, Somi also talks about his mother's novel, Boro Sahib Ongbi Sanatumbi, which became in its English translation, The Princess and the Political Agent. I was fascinated by this little slice of history and I knew that I had to publish it. We published The Princess and the Political Agent in May 2020 when India was still largely under lockdown. And I was amazed to see how this well-loved novel's English translation captured the imagination of readers across the country. In translating his mother's iconic novel, Somi Roy has created a lasting tribute to her, ensuring that her legacy lives on with those of us not fortunate enough to be able to read it in the original Manipuri. We at Penguin Random House India are honoured to have published the first English translation of this novel under our prestigious Modern Classics imprint.
Maharaj Kumari Binodini Ainadi Imasi Kaujaba Misasi Mayamdai Karatonganba Misakne Naina Hajaningi Ekoinupi si Arang Arak Sana Lupa Aduga Akiemopi si Pangali Adubu Madi Sana Lupadagi Hen Nakwagi Lay Asadpa Aduga Ashugumbashina Masabu Kejaba Ashima Pamjay Aduna Yamna Mashutaba Pamba Jamna Pajaba Dugma Pamba Mayanga Manadava Misaka Moina Aina Lose Mana Lay Pambasi Huisatok Kotok Minaba Matamda Kyamuk Pang Gebu Noma Gektaski Mapanama Nada Sinchalupada Elarji Totana Awabanangi Aduna Mahakasi Lay Shu Yamna Pamjaba Sumba Miuini Aduna Mahaki Novel Borosai Umbi Sanatumbida Mashigi Imasina Lay Shune Yamna Pamjaba Sigi Mami Tabra Nakanjay Asumna Hibirami Matang Amada Residency Dagi Kangzebung Yobadi Kaya Laptabanina Mainu Roineraga Kong Nadum Torei Satin Masama Cook Yamna Sang Badu Makutna Paise No Mana Langho Shutabaga Lengang Pidupka No Mana Loirang Shutabaga Lay Pidupka Gom Bumba Samjida Shum Torokpada Shambalay Mapan Charong Ama Tap Hektuna Silly No Mana Pros Drumandi Charong Karigumbadana Matam Sadana Residency da Panba Moro Angangba Ama Nain da Namsali
Imasi, my mother, my mentor, and my guide. She is the one who introduced me to the beautiful aesthetics and culture of Manipur. She is alive in all my work. We love her. We at Anjika, my husband Arvind, and me
will always remember her and love her. And I am indebted to her for whatever I am today. Imasi, I love you.
Kurumjari, I'm June Nilu and I'm currently in Chennai. Well, Imasi MK Binodini needs no introduction in the Manipur society and to the world of literature in Manipur. Born in the royal family, she was an accomplished woman of grace, poise, and of great charm. I think her contributions in the field of literature has immensely enriched the literature scenario. I'm also deeply honored to have done a rendition of the song Karamba Jukki for a movie Inakta Lairingai, originally sung by Khunjoy Kumar and Asem Bimala Devi, lyrics by Imasi.
Karamba Jukki Kaukrabahi
My name is Zeddy Emmons. I met Somi Roy in 1982 when he brought Imasi's film My Son, My Precious to be shown at the Museum of Modern Art. Some years later, in 2004, he got an Asian Cultural Council grant to bring performers, museum people, and artists to meet their counterparts in Manipur, which was an unusual thing to do. At the time, I worked at the Newark Museum and was commissioned by the museum to have a traditional Manipuri wedding ensemble for bride and groom made under the supervision of Imasi. We went to visit craftsmen and weavers, and she supervised every aspect of the production. And in 2008, the bride and groom's outfit were shown in an special exhibition at the Peabody Essex Museum in Massachusetts called Wedded Bliss, The Marriage of Art and Culture, or Art and Ceremony, sorry. And this is a picture of what she supervised and produced. So I have to thank her and Somi for that very special experience. I had been to India many times, but Manipur was nothing like the India I was familiar with. So thank you for all those precious memories.
Toividu, Warahovida Haiba Imasi Binodini, Maharaj Kumari Binodini gi Waremasi, Emeda, Hoji Tamiba, Seb Environment and Haibasiga, Marilena, Bayana Pazaba. Wareng amani sangaibu kaibulam jawda leiriba sangaibu kannabagi yamna thamoi phukpa kholau yawba adumba warengsi 1973 da igibani matam sidagi hoji phawada sangai gi awareness lakpada literature gi power haibjaba tare literature gi sakti se kadai pukanbagi haibabu hojikti sangai gi damakta pambom tingba sangai hariba asi yamna athoiba million oina loina sizinnarakpasi thengnajare hojik hairiba waring sidagi matek amatang pajage o ngahak sangai amom kaurure madi atei saga manade kara ikai thi kigali aduna sayok sang senaba kangmuna naraktagi tanthokpa taki sangai amom thorakle mamingna thoibi aina kaujei my fair lady punsida asuk phajaba nupi ukidri Mana setpa, mana thekpa, magi sang labang mangak samna, laiduna tunghanna yang lakpa, tatak selaga, kanglep lepi, magi tumlaba, makung marina, pumti marakta, yung na thangbadu, ururaga, awang bataki, ibe masingna, kuning kang bitong laga, semdok laba, sajata, migi miyang sing sinna satpabu, mingsing hali, yamna ke na chana, yoksaba, ningon gum khalui, Fazai, yamna fazai, toibi, sab saba, mamingni theka thek naugano.
My name is Yoshiko Chuma. I'm choreographer. I have been New York. Here, I'm New York. Dancer? Yes, I'm dancer. I met the Imasi 2004 in Impal. Well, I didn't know about her. I performed in that time. She's 100%. She's 100% to support me because I felt it's incredible love because she was a many ways support. And then I perform in the temple. It's just incredible. Imasi, you are incredible, powerful woman, very activist. You are woman. I wish I like to be you.